is Volusia Today, a public information radio program brought to you by the County of Volusia.
Good morning and welcome to Volusia Today. I'm Heather Belden with the county's Community Information Division, and today I am joined by the wonderful Pat Kewen. Thank you so much for joining us. Volusia Today is made possible by our sponsors, the Daytona Beach International Airport, the Ocean Center, Volusia Recycles, and Votran Public Transportation. Good morning, Pat.
Hey there.
How are you?
I'm pretty good, but I'm really over this heat and I'm ready for the fall to come.
It is legitimately probably one of the hottest summers we've had in a very, very long time. And I think probably the records can speak to that. We're looking at heat advisories almost every single day. We're looking at heat indexes that are topping 110, 112. You've dealt with this a lot in your career as a public information officer and kind of giving tips and tricks for the public. Do you have any of those to share for our listeners?
I sure do. First off, stay inside if you can, but that's not something all of us can do. But if you're working outside, take frequent breaks, drink lots of water, and get into the air conditioner. And if your air conditioner stops working, you can always head to the library. We've got 14 libraries across the county, and they are official cooling stations during this heat wave. So you can go hang out at the library, grab a book or a magazine, or even take part in one of their classes.
That's a great idea, and you can look up those branches at volusialibrary.org. They also will have their times that they'd be open this weekend, and it's a great resource for people, like you said, who may not be able to escape the heat. And I also think it's important to remember, check on your neighbors, check on your elderly family members and your pups and kittens and anybody that may be outside. Make sure they have access to water.
That's right, and keep an eye out for these heat-related illnesses. There's heat exhaustion and heat stroke, and heat stroke is the more dangerous one. You've got it if you stop sweating, which is interesting.
And scary.
Right, it is. So if you stop sweating and your skin is hot and red and you're nauseous and confused, you need to call 911.
That's awesome. Well, speaking of the environment, we actually have two people here from our environmental management division. We have Jaymie Reneker. She is with the Habitat Conservation Plan. She's a program manager. And we have Chad Murch. He is with our manatee program. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So first off, let's just go one by one. What do you guys do? Tell us all about your job and the things that you love the most.
All right. Like she mentioned, my name is Jaymie. I'm the Sea Turtle Habitat Conservation Plan Program Manager. So our office is over in Daytona Beach. So basically, I just manage the Habitat Conservation Plan that we have that allows beach driving on our beaches. We work with the volunteer groups who are out every single morning marking all of the sea turtle nests, watching them until they hatch, and then they get excavated, count the contents, and those nests are removed from our beach. And we do lots of other things. We do shorebird surveys, different volunteer events. We have Adopt a Beach program and things like that.
Very cool. And Chad?
Great. I'm Chad. I work in the Manatee Protection Program. The Manatee Protection Program manager and I, we coordinate kind of environmental impacts for manatees. And we run a couple of very cool programs to Recycle Fishing Line is one of our bigger programs, and also a Manatee Watch program. We also coordinate a marine mammal stranding team that responds to sick and injured marine mammals out in the wild.
So lots of marine mammals discussion we're going to have today. Yeah. So let's start with Jaymie. We had Alexa, a member of your team, on the show recently, and she was talking about how we are very close to breaking numbers for the record of sea turtle nests. Have we done it yet? Are we close?
We have officially broken the record. So last year it was set, I know, it's crazy, 1427 last year. This year, I checked this morning, we're at 1454. Season's not over yet. We've still got, a good month of nesting, and it actually goes through October. So we'll see how high we get.
And we've officially entered the hatch.
We are very, very deep into hatching season at this point. They started hatching in July, so we've got nests hatching nightly, and many, many turtles going to the water every night.
Well, that's wonderful. Some of us were worried after the 2 hurricanes last year that the turtles wouldn't find their way back, but they sure did. They seem to have this homing mechanism that brings them back to the same beach every year.
They do. So, yeah, we weren't really sure what this year was going to bring in terms of numbers. Last year was a record. We tend to see years that are really high and then years that kind of drop down. They cycle, through the years. So we thought it would be a little bit of a lower year. We all guessed really, really low. Not really low, but just lower than where we are right now. So we are pleased that they're back. They've found all the right spots to nest this year.
That's great. Now, what should people do if they see a sea turtle nesting or if they see hatchlings emerging from the nest?
It's a great question. The easiest and best thing to do is just let the turtles do, what they're there to do. Let them, come up onto the beach, perform their nesting activities in the natural environment, and let hatchlings go to the ocean undisturbed. We want to keep our beaches as clean and dark and flat as possible, so there's no obstacles, especially for the hatchlings. They're about the size of a chicken nugget, so anything, a rut, really big footprints, big holes are going to be obstacles for them. So just keep your lights off and let them do what they're there to do.
Now, when we got into the studio this morning, we were talking about the heat, and Pat had mentioned something really interesting. Heat can affect sea turtles.
Yes, so the sex of sea turtles is actually determined by the temperature at which their eggs incubate at during incubation. So it takes about 2 months for those eggs to hatch. We say hot chicks, cool dudes. So the warmer the temperature, more females we get, the cooler the temperature, the more males.
So it's safe to say this will be the year of the girls?
I think so.
Yes, probably lots of females.
Now, you mentioned, obviously, you work with the Habitat Conservation Plan. Can you kind of give the elevator pitch for what that is in case people don't know what that is?
Right. So basically, I mentioned we have beach driving here on Volusia County beaches. We've had it here since the early days of the automobile. Ever since, these species became entered onto the Endangered Species Act, we had to put a lot more protections into place. So in order to continue to have beach driving, we had to apply for an incidental take permit that allows us to have that. The Habitat Conservation Plan is basically our guidebook or a handbook for how we're going to manage that species, how we're going to protect them while performing these activities.
Very cool. Well, Chad, you're sitting here too, so let's dive into a little bit about manatees.
I thought you guys forgot about me.
We had a manatee show last week, and they talked a little bit about this, but you are, I think, the program lead for the marine mammal stranding team. So tell us,
myself and the program manager that coordinate the team.
Tell us all about it.
So the team, we recruit environmental specialists from kind of around our program, and we provide first response to stranded, sick, injured marine mammals that are out there in the environment. We're kind of like that first response. We work closely with FWC, of course. We work with Hub SeaWorld Research Institute, Clearwater Marine Aquarium, lots of people in the stranding network all to make sure these animals that are anthropogenically impacted, that are sick, that are injured, they're entangled in monofilament, they've been hit by boats, or just sick out there, that they're able to be rescued and carted off to rehabilitation. We have some amazing skilled rehabilitation areas around Florida for manatees and dolphins. And then once those animals are fully rehabilitated, we'll assist in the release and release them back out into the wild.
Can you tell us about some of the rescues you've been involved in?
We did have a recent rescue that was it was very cool to us. There was a female manatee that was stranded on the beach in Ponce Inlet, and she was part of a mating herd. Mating herds are very common this time of the year. We do see a lot of them. And it was cool to us because no citizens tried to push her back out into the ocean. This is a big problem that we always deal with. We ask that instead of pushing animals back out into the ocean, that they call a professional and let the specialist come and handle that situation. When an animal beaches themselves, it's most likely for a very specific reason. And if you push that animal back out into the water, they're going to strand again. They're going to strand in worse condition this time. So to give those animals the best chance possible, we call the FWC Wildlife Alert Hotline. That's just pound FWC from your cell phone, and we're able to get those animals the care that they need. So nobody tried to push this animal back out into the water, which was great to see. We dispatched one of our team members down there, and she was able to assess the manatee, set up a barrier, keep everybody safe. They are big, strong, powerful animals. And this particular manatee wasn't doing as well as we would like her to do just to return her back to the water. She was absolutely exhausted. She was in the middle of a very, very large mating herd that just kind of took the wind out of her. So instead of returning her back into the environment where all those males were waiting for her, we sent her off to SeaWorld. So FWC came down with a rescue truck and brought her over to SeaWorld. They have a very, very skilled staff there. Revived that manatee, got her back up to par. And last week, I believe it was, we released her at Dunlawton Ramp in Port Orange, and USGS tagged her with a satellite transponder, so her movements will be tracked for about a year.
Oh, how exciting.
Yeah.
You two have such rewarding jobs. Good for you.
So what does the rehabilitation process look like? Can you give us a little glimpse of
So I'm actually not part of that rehabilitation process, but there's like an intake process where we do have, I think, 5 centers around Florida that will take us manatees or dolphins, and they'll do like a full body scan, just like if you or I were admitted into the hospital. A lot of x-rays, sonograms, things like that, very specific attention paid to their diets, how they're processing food, and of course to their physiology, how they look, and their behavior as well before they're released out there.
So how many manatees have we released this year?
This year would be 17 I think, 16
Wow.
or 17, quite a few.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's incredible.
Yeah.
And if somebody was looking to help out, do you guys have volunteer opportunities?
We do have volunteer opportunities to help in different capacities for the stranding team. Just because of the liability that's involved there, we want to rely on people that are a little bit more specialized, so we don't take volunteers on our stranding team. We do have volunteers for our monofilament recovery and recycling program, which is an amazing program. A lot of manatees, a lot of dolphins do get entangled in monofilament out there, and these volunteers help to keep our waterways tangle free. So they're collecting up fishing line, discarded fishing line, and sending that line back into a recycling station, and all this line gets collected internationally, and it gets melted down and turned into tackle boxes and park benches and things like that. So it's a really good program. And then we have our Manatee Watch program as well. And this is Volusia County citizens that we train to document the location of manatees. And then we also train them to kind of assess their body condition. If that manatee doesn't look right, if it looks like it's sick, if it's on its own and it's not supposed to be on its own, if it's a baby, to report those things in. So that's another great program as well. We usually hold trainings for that twice a year.
And then, Jaymie, do you guys have any volunteer opportunities with sea turtles or other things that people can help out with the habitat?
Yeah, kind of similar to Chad. The sea turtle nest monitoring is done by 2 volunteer groups, the New Smyrna Beach Turtle Trackers and the Volusia Turtle Patrol. So they have their own kind of process to being a volunteer with their groups, but definitely, check them out. Our program itself, we have the Adopt a Beach program, where people adopt different miles of the beach and they clean it up every couple of years. We have the International Coastal Cleanup as one of our bigger volunteer events.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. So yeah, there are different ways that folks can get involved throughout the year, one-time beach cleanups, things like that.
Very cool. Well, we have to take a short break, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, we will be talking about that International Coastal Cleanup and have some details on that fun event.
Subscribe to the Volusia County YouTube channel.
And hit the bell icon to know what's happening in your hometown.
There are so many great places to explore.
And things to learn.
With over 1,000 videos available right now, the channel offers something for everyone.
Let's go!
Did you know we have countless features showcasing history, nature, wildlife, and recreation? Subscribe and hit the bell icon.
Or that we live stream important county meetings and workshops where leaders make decisions that can impact our everyday lives. Did you subscribe yet?
Or that we record our weekly radio show, Volusia Today, where we interview staff from the different divisions and departments across our great county, and they discuss the nitty-gritty of their field and expertise.
Go ahead, subscribe.
But that's not it. There's more. Subscribe and hit the bell icon and fully explore.
Score!
We're back. I'm Pat Kewen along with Heather Belden, and you're listening to Volusia Today. This is a public information program brought to you by the County of Volusia.
Thank you, Pat. We are back. We are in studio with Jaymie and Chad from our county's environmental management team. We spoke a little bit about what they do here for the county, but now we're going to talk about an event that's coming up. It is a well-attended volunteer event every year. It is the International Coastal Cleanup. It helps obviously clean up our environment, but also provides a nice, safe marine life environment for our mammal friends we have here in the county. It is something that is a big hit every year.
Big hit.
People come, they help clean up our beaches and our waterways. Tell us a little bit about it.
The International Coastal Cleanup is it's sponsored by the Ocean Conservancy. It is an annual event, and it's become kind of a beacon. It's a very inspiring event for people to come out. We've had over 17 million volunteers have come out since its inception and collected over 350 million pounds of garbage. This is trash that's recovered from our beaches, from our waterways. So at Volusia County, we're going to host 23 sites this year. And this is a free event. You can register on our Eventbrite page and come out and support. There's something for everybody. There's beach sites where you can come out and walk the beach. There are boater sites and kayak sites where you can launch your boats and get out in your kayaks, get out on the intercoastal waterways, and give some of those islands out there some much needed attention. So there is something for everybody. If anybody really wants to put the work in, Ormond Loop. The loop up there, the Ormond Scenic Loop, is one of the areas that we really, really work hard on every year, and a lot of the pounds of garbage that we collect come from the loop. So that's a specific site that we'd like to highlight today.
Great. Can you remind us of the date and times again?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's September 16th, which is a Saturday. It's going to start at 8 a.m. and ends right around 11 a.m. So when you register for a site, every site will have a site captain. So all you really need to do is show up. If you can bring a reusable water bottle, bring some sunscreen, maybe an old pair of gardening gloves, but our site captains will have everything out there for everybody.
And where can they go to register?
We started using Eventbrite this year, which is an amazing platform for registration. So you go to Eventbrite, Volusia County International Coastal Cleanup. You can also visit volusia.org, environmental management, and just search International Coastal Cleanup, and it'll bring you to that link as well.
Okay, and if you sign up by a certain date, do you get a free gift?
A free gift. Jaymie, do you want to talk about our free gift? Are we going to reveal it?
I think we can finally reveal it.
The free gift this year. Drum roll, everybody.
Drum roll.
This year, we are pleased to offer baseball hats. And those are going to be for the first 1,000 registrants. So I think right now you said we're just shy of 500 registered as of today. So we got 500 more to go. So we'll have baseball hats. It has the logo on it. And we also have stickers that's going to have all of the information on it as well.
So what's the most common debris that you guys are finding?
Bottle caps, cigarette butts are it's usually those single-use plastics that we find quite often out there, that it's just easy to discard them, it's easy to drop them, and those are the things that are commonly recovered out there.
And I think it's those little things that are the biggest danger to the turtles and the seabirds.
The little things become smaller things as well, and then that's when we get into the realm of microplastics and ingestion of those things, and it's a bad situation. So everybody coming out to support and getting those things out of our waterways and off our beaches is extremely important. So
how many people signed up last year?
Just over 1,500.
Oh, good.
Yep.
We're going to break that this year, I think.
Okay.
I think so too.
And what are some of the strangest objects you found during
objects.
I think for one of my sites, it's not even that strange. We found 4 floor mats, like rubber floor mats for a car, that was underneath a bridge. I've also found a stroller.
We found ceiling fans.
Yeah.
Alexa found a soldering iron one year. Still don't know what that is.
These things don't belong in the water.
Yeah, a lot of things that don't belong in the water. But there are some larger items out there that are recovered as well. Refrigerators and recliners and things like that just really shouldn't be out in the environment. People do unfortunately drop those off sometimes. So even though it's not our fault that this is happening, I think it's still our responsibility to come out and clean these things up.
Now, you mentioned there's multiple sites along the beach and the river. How what are the specific challenges and considerations for these different areas? I know you had mentioned kayaks and things like that.
Yeah, it's not really a challenging event. Of course, it is hot outside. We do want to be cognizant of that heat, bring plenty of water in that reusable water bottle. But the specifics for the site, depending on, we've got something for everybody. We've got those boater sites down in Oak Hill, Edgewater, Holly Hill, Ormond Beach. Everybody has some boater sites and some kayak sites out there. And if you just wanted to stroll through a park or stroll through a beach, we have those sites as well.
And you mentioned bring your reusable water bottle.
We don't want to add to the problem.
And I actually, when we were doing some research, looking up some things we could ask you guys, I found when I was growing up, it was reduce, reuse, recycle. But I've been reading it is reduce, reuse, then recycle, with the emphasis changing with the then. What does that change mean to you?
That's a hard question. I think everybody has a lot of opinions on this, and my opinion is to concentrate on that first R, is reduce. Reduce the amount of plastics, reduce the amount of things that we invite into our lives, whether that's through a purchase, whether we're picking something up at the coffee bar. It's those small little decisions throughout your daily life that are going to reduce the amount of those single-serving plastics that are just kind of plaguing our environment out there.
Good. And you brought up the fishing line earlier. I'm glad you did, because that just wreaks havoc on birds and turtles and manatees. I know the Marine Science Center often gets turtles that have been entangled, and sometimes they have to amputate a flipper.
Yep.
So keep that in mind when you're fishing. Don't throw your fishing line out into the water or on the beach. You got to pack it up and take it home with you.
And thank you to our volunteers that are already in that monofilament recovery program. Between them and our underwater cleanups, we have a specialized dive team that dives every year and cleans up monofilament that's submerged into the water. We usually get about 1,000 pounds a year. Last year we got over 2,000 pounds recovered just from these two programs. So thank you to our volunteers that are in the monofilament recovery and recycling program.
And what are some insights of the impact of marine debris on not just the wildlife, but maybe the ecosystems? Is that a tough one?
Question. I mean, it's out there, right? I mean,
it's out there, yeah. And like we said, like when these things are on the beach, the tide will bring them into the water. The tide brings them into the water. They break into smaller pieces. The sun is going to break down pretty much everything that's out there. When this happens, fish are going to eat it, smaller fish, and then a bigger fish is going to come along and eat them, and then we start to see what's called bioaccumulation, and these materials end up entering into our bodies. You have plastic in your body right now. I have plastic in my body right now. It's very, very harmful to us. We don't quite know the extent of it, but removing these items from our natural areas before they are ingested by an animal, it's something we can all do. It's very important.
Yeah, I think, as a family, when we go to the beach, I always have my bag that I take our trash that we bring on, but I make it a point to pick up anything I see on my walk back to the car. And I think these little things that we can do, like you said, in our everyday life to reduce or reuse is awesome. Mm-hmm. And, this International Coastal Cleanup is such a great way for people to go out. Now, if you have a community organization, do you guys ever get groups like Boy Scouts or Girl Scout groups, schools? I mean,
all sorts. A lot of our sites are Boy Scout troops, like you mentioned, Girl Scouts. A lot of just public participants. We get a lot of families that come out just for that morning. Just a lot of people from across, the whole county are going to come out and help clean up. So
a lot of different civic organizations, yeah. But I mostly it's just individuals that just sign up, that just want to come out and lend a hand, be a little environmental-ish. That's what we ask.
Okay, and people can learn more about this at volusia.org/cleanup. Mm-hmm. Right.
Yes.
And that'll link you to the International Coastal Cleanup Eventbrite page.
Right. That's good. I hope we have another great turnout this year, and I hope it cools off a bit between now and then.
Even if it doesn't, we're going. We're going.
Awesome. Well, we are going to take another short break and close out the show. Stay with us. We have more for Volusia Today.
Subscribe to the Volusia County YouTube channel. channel.
And hit the bell icon to know what's happening in your hometown.
There are so many great places to explore.
And things to learn.
With over 1,000 videos available right now, the channel offers something for everyone.
Let's go!
Did you know we have countless features showcasing history, nature, wildlife, and recreation? Subscribe and hit the bell icon.
Or that we live stream important county meetings and workshops where leaders make decisions that can impact our everyday lives. Did you subscribe yet?
Or that we record our weekly radio show, Volusia Today, where we interview staff from the different divisions and departments across our great county, and they discuss the nitty-gritty of their field and expertise.
Go ahead, subscribe.
But that's not it. There's more. Subscribe and hit the bell icon and fully explore.
Score!
We're back. I'm Heather Belden, and we are wrapping up our talk with two environmental management experts, Jaymie and Chad from that division in our county. We went in depth about the International Coastal Cleanup, which is coming up, and we'll give you guys another reminder here. It is September 16th.
Saturday, September 16th, 8 a.m.
And you can register at volusia.org/cleanup. You can register on Eventbrite. There are a ton of locations across the county that people can join. You can go by yourself, with your family, with your group, whoever you want. You mentioned this really briefly, Chad. What should someone bring with them to the cleanup?
Really, you don't have to bring anything. If you can, bring a reusable water bottle, sunscreen. It is hot outside, and then some old gardening gloves, something like that. But we will have site captains. So a big thank you to all of our site captains who have already signed up. But the site captains out there will have everything for you. It's very coordinated. So our site captains do a great job of making sure that everybody has everything that they need before they head out onto the beaches or out onto the rivers to clean up.
And then did you want to give a thank you to anyone else as well, Jaymie?
Yes, we have multiple sponsors. We host this event out of kind of our office. We're a very, very small team, but we've got lots of other partners that help kind of make this happen. We have Open Water. They donate water every single year for the last couple years, so that will be at each site. In Atlantic Intercoastal, I mentioned the New Smyrna Beach Turtle Trackers before. They're also a sponsor. CFB Outdoors, they help us pick up a lot of the trash that is collected. Keep NSB Clean, Volusia Sea Turtles, Ocean Conservancy is the big one. That's our huge sponsor. And then the Florida Endless Summer License Plate. Waste Pro also donates dumpsters for a lot of our locations.
Well, if you want to be a part of that list of people that we thank, please come out to the International Coastal Cleanup, and you can register at volusia.org/cleanup. Be sure to follow the County of Volusia on Facebook. Thank you, Chad and Jaymie, for having us. We appreciate you joining us on this episode of Volusia Today. And to our listeners, keep Volusia beautiful.
Thank you guys for having us.
If you have a comment about Volusia Today, or if there is a topic you would like to hear featured, please contact Volusia County Community Information.